how emotional and social intelligence help us communicate better as leaders and improve our satisfaction in life. Emotional social intelligence is an important skill to have as a successful leader and as a person that leads a fulfilled quality life. The intelligence quotient or IQ has been used for a long time as a predictor of future geniuses used on young adolescents or for finding the right candidate for the job. As a predictor of successful leadership, however, it has fallen short as a reliable indicator of success. Business universities such as Harvard and human resource personnel across the nation look for ways to find potential candidates for the job. In my presentation, I would like to give examples of leaders that have emotional and social intelligence and how it has made them a great leader. I'm going to outline the difference between emotional and social intelligence and describe in detail aspects and attributes associated with each category. I would like to research and answer a few questions about this area of study in my research. What is the difference between emotional and social intelligence? How has learning this area helped me in my daily life at work? What are some good examples of jobs that require one over the other and vice versa? What is the difference between emotional and social intelligence, and what are attributes and aspects associated with each category? According to David Goleman's video interview from Harvard Business Review, emotional intelligence is one's own awareness of the current emotional state. They're all things that made us personally successful. It's the ability to keep calm, level-headed, and not lose our cool. These are all things that we have control over, and it's also being aware of our upbringing, personal biases, and our current mood state that can affect how we deal with others. Where social intelligence is different because it's our ability to gauge other people's emotional state. Social intelligence is required for great leadership because successful leaders make other people they lead successful and not just being successful themselves. Attributes associated with emotional intelligence is awareness of one's current mood state, awareness of our own biased views and upbringing. Attributes associated with social intelligence are empathy, the ability to walk a mile in others' shoes, to build rapport, and being sensitive to people's wants and needs. Then using this information to persuade others to perform better. Another attribute is the ability to read people and understanding the different types of people out there and what their thoughts and motives are. Social intelligence will allow leaders to get people that aren't able to work with each other to become a team and get something meaningful done. What are some examples of leaders that display high social intelligence? A great example of a great leader, although fictitious one, is Optimus Prime from the Transformers cartoon series. Optimus is well aware of the emotions that flow through Autobots under his command. He advises one soldier to leave another soldier alone to flush out the emotions when they've experienced a traumatic event such as losing a long-time comrade. He clearly displays this empathy aspect of social intelligence by recognizing when to push and when to pull away from people. Optimus often tempers soldiers not to make hasty and brash decisions in the heat of the moment. Politicians is an obvious career of a leadership role that will require a higher amount of social intelligence. Imagine a president, he has to walk the fine line between placating his core political foundation base that ushered him into office. He has to draw a hard line with issues that cannot be compromised to the opposing party. But he also has to give concessions to the other parties in order to swing their vote his way. The president has to address the nation and tap into what people are feeling and make them feel like this is the right candidate that will solve all their problems. Both parties in America try to make their candidate the candidate of the people. They use words like what they're going to do for Joe the plumber and tell heartfelt stories about the trials of the common man in order to sell themselves as someone that genuinely cares and listens. What are some good examples when emotional intelligence is required rather than social intelligence and vice versa? An example of a career that will require high emotional intelligence is a judge presiding over a case. A judge has to be aware of their own biases toward the case. Emotional intelligence is also important for a judge if it can be proven that our judge has any feeling towards one side of plaintiff or defendant, they can immediately be dismissed from the case. A judge has to view a case very objectively and be fair. The judge also has to remain calm and collected when huge amount of tension is being released in the heated case. The judge has been able to calm down all sides and bring order to the courtroom. How I was learning emotional and social intelligence impacted me in my career. I first learned about emotional and social intelligence after a few years working in the corporate world. I work as a technical support staff in an information technology department. I chose this career because I felt that I could make a good amount of money without being some sort of social butterfly and being able to communicate effectively. I learned that I was gravely wrong. I would say that working as a technical support staff requires a really high level communication skills, emotional intelligence, and social intelligence, and a certain level of a minimum intelligence quotient requirement to get anywhere. In my head, I thought that all I would be doing is facing my head down, receiving work orders from a system, and fixing computers and gadgets all day. Why would I need strong communication skills? The reality is, in order to fix a computer issue for someone, we have to find out what the issue is first and how the user was using the equipment supplied to them and what they were doing when the issue was happening. This required a lot of inquiring into a user and finding out how their mind works. You can probably get away with not having good communications, working in a back office, not interacting with anybody, but you would never get picked to handle corporate projects or manage technical folks if you didn't have the social intelligence skills required for the task. I look around me and I figure out that all the successful people were personable and people that I can relate to. After a few years in the corporate world, my social intelligence skills improved a lot. This will allow me to predict certain types of employees and how they would act in a certain situation. This foresight helped me navigate landmines of frustrated employees who are already frustrated by the time they call me for help, and helped me deal with departments that really hate each other. The ability to know and understand different cultures and how someone smile and laugh and like you helps tremendously when it's time to ask for a favor or need a guidance with a project. How does emotional and social intelligence improve one's quality of life and feeling of satisfaction? Merely learning and knowing about emotional and social intelligence has already taught me how to recognize my own current emotional state and others. I recognize when opportunities arise to improve my skills. I also understand the urgency that I need to improve my social intelligence and make it a priority to read up on these materials and go practice. For me, it's not just advancing my career, but to improve overall quality of life. In the epilogue of Daniel Goleman's book, Social Intelligence, he talks about how the rich aren't always the happiest. The rich adapt to their pleasures and extravagance and expect more in order to be happy, but they adapt to that as well. Having rewarding relationship is what makes people happy. I wouldn't measure a leader only in his capacity to lead a company to organizational success, but a person that leads others into generating rewarding relationships and leading others into fulfilling and satisfied life as well. Increasing my social intelligence will allow me to get more leads on better jobs, network more with interesting people and access to resources, and with any luck it would improve my dating life as well. It has been a priority for me to be able to better relate to people that I meet in my spare time and my work life. Social intelligence should be something that everyone should make an effort to improve and pass down to your children. I don't think this is a new phenomenon. I think social intelligence has always been with us. The only difference now is that it is studied with a scientific method and also the exact chemical and neural anomalies that we now have the technology to trace and build data on. The immense amount of data can be pivoted in a certain way to allow meaningful interpretation of what's going on in the brain when we interact with others. When we communicate with others, the emotional state that the other party put us in has enormous implication on our body. It can affect our mood, and it can also affect our immune system and our hormone that governs our body. We've all had toxic relationships and friendships with people that is an emotional drain. We feel exhausted and tired from communication with these people. We also had friends that after talking to them, we feel energized and not quite sure why we're mad at the world at all. Understanding that toxic relationships need to be discarded and minimize your exposure to them is very important. A toxic relationship you don't deal with will slowly eat away at you until you can physically feel pain and drains your life force. I've had many friends that I had to cut off from my life because I don't feel that being around them is healthy and it wasn't a rewarding relationship. In contrast, I seek interesting people to meet that makes me curious at life and open myself to new experiences. Emotional and social intelligence is a new area of study. is used as an indicator of future and successful leader. It is also an essential skill to master and improve a person's overall quality of life. Having emotional intelligence keeps us centered and not let people whose comments and critiques meant for destruction to affect you and your daily life. Having emotional intelligence helped us make better decisions and not regret making wrong ones from the heat of the moment and to spite others. Our own personal success depends much on emotional success. These are the things that we can control within ourselves. Social intelligence makes our relationship with other people more rewarding and allows us to communicate more effectively with others. Social intelligence is a requirement to be a great leader. A leader's success depends on how well we navigate complicated social environments, open doors for us in our career, and find us interesting people to meet and engage. Our life will be more rewarding and our happiness will soar. Human and social creatures and our brain are made to interact with others. Our relationship with others have real physical health affecting impacts on our bodies. To quote, things leaders do specifically exhibit empathy and become attuned to others' moods, literally affecting both their own brain chemistry and those of his followers. Toxic and emotionally draining relationship can cause our immune system to be less effective, our energy level to drop, and our drive for living life to cease. Having rewarding relationships will make us content with life, having a positive outlook, and perform better as we feel we have a support team that we can rely on. Thank you, and that's my presentation.